When I first heard that Taylor Swift had officially become the richest female musician with a net worth of $1.6 billion, the news felt almost surreal. Taylor Swift, who began her journey as a teenager strumming a guitar and singing about unrequited love, had climbed her way to the pinnacle of both music and wealth. My mind immediately went into overdrive, imagining her living her best billionaire life in true Swiftie style. The first thing that popped into my head was, of course, the grandiose, star-studded celebration she would surely throw to mark such an achievement. I pictured it all, Taylor standing in front of a glittering mansion so massive it put even the most luxurious homes in Hollywood to shame. The gates would open, and an endless red carpet would stretch out in front of guests, many of whom were some of the world's most famous faces. The entire scene would be draped in gold, a tribute to all the gold records and awards Taylor had collected over the years. Chandeliers would sparkle overhead, reflecting light off gold-plated furniture, giving the whole place a warm golden glow. It was a space designed to scream success, but in that effortlessly cool and sophisticated Taylor Swift way. At the heart of the party, of course, would be the piece de resistance, a giant cake in the shape of a guitar, perfectly crafted with delicate sugar strings and fondant that shone like polished wood. The cake itself was symbolic, reminding everyone that despite her billions, Taylor's success was rooted in the simplest things: a girl, a guitar, and a dream. As the guests wandered through the mansion, I imagined Taylor leading them on a personal tour of her home, with her characteristic charm and humility. It wouldn't be just any mansion, no, this was a billionaire's playground, a world where each room was a tribute to the different chapters of her life and career. There would be the fearless room, painted in soft shades of gold and filled with memorabilia from her early days. Guitars hung on the walls like priceless works of art, each one representing a different era of her music: acoustic guitars from her country days, glittering electric guitars from her pop reinvention, and custom ones designed just for her world tours. One room in particular would stand out, the red room naturally. This room would be drenched in rich, vibrant hues, with red velvet curtains draping the walls and a collection of outfits from her tours and music videos displayed like couture museum pieces. In one corner, a cozy nook filled with red pillows and vintage furniture would be the perfect spot to sit and reflect on heartbreak, because what's a Swift party without a nod to all the broken hearts she's written about over the years? But no tour would be complete without a stop at her awards room. I imagined this space filled floor to ceiling with every award you could possibly think of: Grammys, VMAs, Billboard Music Awards, American Music Awards, and even the rarer ones like Brit Awards and Songwriters Hall of Fame honors. The walls would glitter with plaques commemorating her 10-time platinum albums and hit singles. This would be a room not just for admiration but for inspiration, showing the guests just how far one could go when they truly followed their passion. It would be the room where fans would stop, jaws agape, wondering how one person could accomplish so much in such a short amount of time. For a touch of Taylor's infamous sense of humor, I imagined the next room, a space dedicated entirely to her exes. Yes, Taylor would totally have a secret ex-boyfriend hall of fame. But instead of being bitter or awkward, the room would be more tongue-in-cheek, with playful displays like framed "I'm sorry" letters written by her exes, fictional or real, or trophies inscribed with titles like Best Breakup Song Muse and Most Dramatic Split. Taylor would laugh it off as she explained how each breakup only made her stronger and gave her inspiration for some of her best work. And of course, there'd be a jukebox in the corner playing all her breakup anthems on loop. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together would likely be the unofficial anthem of this room. But no Taylor Swift mansion would be complete without a 1989 room, celebrating her leap from country to pop. I could picture it as a sleek, modern space filled with neon lights, chrome furniture, and massive screens playing footage from her stadium tours. This would be the party room, where guests could don their best 80s outfits, grab a drink from the glittering bar, and dance the night away under a disco ball that hung from the ceiling, mirroring the endless lights of her 1989 world tour. As the tour continued, we'd come to one of the most unexpected yet totally Taylor elements: a giant ball pit. But this was no ordinary ball pit. Instead of plastic balls, it was filled with faux dollar bills, each bearing Taylor's face, naturally. I imagined her gleefully jumping into the pit in front of her guests, laughing as she explained how it was her unique form of stress relief. After all, even billionaires need a way to unwind, right? And what better way to remind everyone of her financial triumph than a room quite literally filled with money? Then there would be the secret vault, a space tucked away, hidden behind a massive bookshelf that could only be accessed by playing a secret note on one of her guitars. Inside, this would be Taylor's private sanctuary, where she kept the memorabilia that mattered most to her: handwritten lyrics, the first guitar she ever owned, and a collection of fan letters, the ones that truly moved her over the years. There would also be framed photos from her early days in Nashville, long before she ever became the global superstar she is today. But perhaps the most Taylor-esque part of this billionaire fantasy party would be the finale. Instead of ending with some grand exclusive affair for the elite, Taylor would throw open the doors to her most dedicated fans. She'd invite her Swifties, the ones who had been there from the very beginning, to join her for the ultimate dance party. They'd all gather in a massive ballroom, where Taylor would lead the crowd in choreographed dances to her biggest hits. The room would be filled with confetti, and everyone would be given friendship bracelets, a nod to the ones fans make in exchange at her concerts. And of course, Taylor wouldn't let her billionaire status go to her head. She'd use the moment to prove that she hadn't lost touch with what truly mattered: her fans, her music, and her roots. She'd make a heartfelt speech about how none of it would have been possible without her supporters, and how she planned to give back, using her wealth to make a difference in the world. I could almost hear her voice, soft yet powerful, talking about her charitable donations, from education to women's rights to disaster relief efforts. The night would be a celebration, not just of her financial success, but of her journey, her resilience, and her determination to use her platform for good. As I imagined this party, I couldn't help but smile at how Taylor Swift would celebrate in a way that was both over the top and deeply personal. While the world would marvel at her net worth, she'd remain the same artist at heart, writing songs about love, heartbreak, and the human experience. Her mansion, filled with glitter, gold, and guitar-shaped cakes, would be a physical manifestation of the life she had built, not just one of wealth, but of creativity, connection, and impact. The party wouldn't just be a spectacle for the rich and famous, it would be a symbol of Taylor's journey from small-town girl to global icon. And in true Taylor Swift fashion, it would end not with her standing alone at the top, but surrounded by the people who helped her get there, dancing, laughing, and celebrating the music that made it all possible.